2 times in a row. And it's only been a couple of days. SuperMassive Blaze have had a lot of time to take a look back on what changed. And I think that showed when it comes to the veto.
Well, we saw it yesterday, how much G2 were able to fix their issues even on similar maps and then come back through and actually come back versus Sentinel. So it definitely is something workable for SuperMassive Blaze, but I can tell you now, Acend have probably been in the workshop as well.
Well, SuperMassive Blaze starting on the attack on every map. That's a strange situation. You'll see them here on Acend looking for the A side and finding it for free. They found the weakness, they found the gap, and the plant will be theirs.
Yeah, the full retake going to have to come into play here for the side of Acend. Now, they're going to be looking to try and come on the flank and pick off the man of Brave, but already looking to try and spot out those remaining players. Will probably call for a little bit of support.
Oh, nice shot by Acend, still with the dash online. He gets out of there, not sectioned in by the Nano Swarm. They've caught Brave as well. Now it's only the players on the site, and they're going to start to feel overwhelmed. Players coming from every single angle. Shock darts in for damage, but they somehow get away with all the kills. 5 and 4 HP left between Pora and Izzy, but SuperMassive Blaze take the pistol.
Excuse me? That was a blink and you miss it sort of round. Izzy just finding pretty much every single kill as they look to try and walk back into the site and even landed them, as you said, while he's only on 4 HP. That was looking like almost perfect retake coming in from Acend, but just can't get the final kills at the end of it. So SuperMassive Blaze, they're going to get off to a strong start. I think that's going to be important in this series. Now, I know that in terms of the map pool, it is similar until we get to the third, which obviously we didn't see last time. The difference of the maps being flipped, though, I think actually could be quite a big deal, because last time you got Acend going into their own map choice, winning it dominantly, then they come through into map which we spoke about at the time being heavily favored to SuperMassive Blaze, one that they've been unbelievable on in both Turkey. Yeah,
fixed a lot of problems.
I'm the other way around though, because we've got a split. The permaban of Acend.
Yeah.
In the map pool. And they chose to ban Haven, which up until they lost to Vision Strikers was a map I was incredibly confident in them on. So I think that, if anything, 2 of the 3 maps, I actually favor SMB.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. It was an odd veto, looking at it from the context of if it was the previous series or how the previous series went. But that is a testament to these players, into how they can adapt and how they can push forward. Now, we're getting back into the game here, but Acend are just on an eco, so we don't expect to see a whole bunch from them. SuperMassive Blaze have gone for the rifle over on Izzy, everyone else just playing Spectres. But in this situation, you don't really want to lose any players.
Well, the other thing as well for Izzy is if he even just gets 1 kill in this round now and then dies, as long as somebody picks up the rifle, he comes in with a Blade Storm. He got so many kills in the pistol that he's put himself and his team in an incredibly good spot. That's why he can actually afford to take this bit of a risk, as long as, well, that gun doesn't fall into enemy hands. For now, at least, there are going to be a multitude of defenders, and we have seen how the shorty can actually work from the boathouse. So I'm a little bit worried that one of these players is going to fall to that gun.
Yeah, look how low Brave is as well. Even as he's getting healed up, he's still going to be pretty weak as he walks into the back of Bone. And Bone Cold not able to follow up. But there's the shorty for 1 and almost more found. Look, a decent attempt by Acend here. If they can find any more kills, it will be huge. But as we said, the weaponry disadvantage is just too great. As we go 2-0 for SuperMassive Blaze, it's not the end of the world, especially with that Ghost Retrieve. They can drop over a pistol to Brave.
Yeah, I expect the early stages of this next round are going to be fighting for Ultimate Orbs. It means that they can just drop the extra rifle over. Izzy can play as Blade Storm, and this comes in as a much more threatening buy than what we probably would have seen. Or maybe he goes for an opening pick, and if he gets it, again, like the Koreans alongside SCA are going to give themselves much more of a chance to improve, because they're going to be facing off against each other. And it's going to be a learning curve for Paper X here, but I think they will have already learned a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it day to day, and just the form that they came into in this tournament was fantastic. But you know what, Tom? Caster, stop talk. It's time to get back into the game. Technical issues finally resolved, and SuperMassive Blaze are looking to pick up their 3rd. Now, Brave did sell that Spectre we talked about a little bit earlier on. He's playing just with the Sheriff, and again, the intention is most likely to get Izzy a kill, get that Blade Storm online, and spread out the funds a little bit more evenly. In fact, he's holding a bit of a solo play down on long, while the rest of the team splits into short.
Already Pora's going to be dropped. CNED will deal with him as he tries to push through alone. Izzy already managing to find the trade with that rifle. Bladestorm available to him if he desires, and he will pull it out almost instantly, but Killers is there to shut him out. They're making this one costly, that's for sure, but still a 2 versus 3 for the defenders.
Yeah, another player drop, leaving Turco all by himself, but he was described as a clutch player. This time, he won't be finding anything. A round found for Acend, 2 players lost, and considering Bladestorm was used up as well, I don't see that as terrible. I think Acend got away with the bare minimum having their 3 players alive.
Yeah, for sure. And what was a fairly fast-paced move out of Supermassive Blaze. I don't think they expected too much to come through here. Still going to have themselves a buy. Not really anything missing from it either. Utility on point, so it's not like this is going to be one of those weaker rounds. And in fact, you're actually seeing Killers on the other side have to go down to a Bulldog. So it's still a good possibility that we'll see Supermassive Blaze bounce back. And I think they need to. I want to see them get off to a strong start in this series.
Yeah, you definitely do, considering how things went before. This is where Supermassive Blaze are really put to the test. Has their preparation worked out? And this was a map that they definitely stood a chance at taking before with the 2-1 lead. Let's see what they can build on. Acend, obviously, having Zeke on that Odin is a big investment in these early rounds. And Izzy takes a headshot, doesn't even use his dash to get out, and he loses his life for it.
Yeah, the pressure into mid, and Zenit's getting not only an opener, but he's finding a lot of information. The spike also down very far away, so they're going to have to go for a full rotation just to pick that one back up again, and it will burn quite a bit of time off of the clock. You can also see that there's a hell of a lot of utility currently set up for Killers, moving over to this Killjoy more recently, but it seems to be working at least decently for now. It's not an agent that I would say is synonymous with him as a player, but the fact that he's slowly adding tools that he can wield within the server is going to be great for Acend.
The utility cycle on this push is working out perfectly for Acend. As you look at their recon vault just now coming back online for Zeke, he's going to be able to lob that in as soon as he's hearing the orb being taken, and that's massive information for them to play with. He has the Odin to work with as well, so that's going to be sprayed straight away to take down the Killjoy ultimate. The lockdown not in effect, and 20 seconds left. Supermassive Blaze have been completely outplayed. They need to just run into a stacked up site, and Acend are toying with them, just running the clock down. 10 seconds to get the spike planted, and there's still so many players on the site. That was a fantastic round from Acend, and Supermassive Blaze just looked lost.
That might be one of the best B-site defensive setups I've ever seen. Like, it was just perfect. They even had the wall down, so if they wanted to try and wrap into the back of the site, they didn't stand a chance. And when you have an Odin just sat homed in on an angle, well, I'm going to bank on that player every single time. They had the slows in to try and delay them on the push with only 20 seconds left, and then they had a gravity well. So even if they get past the slow, they're being pulled back even further. That was a great read from Acend, and Supermassive Blaze have just been owned.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point on the attack, they, as I said, they looked lost. They didn't know what to do. They gambled on just that lockdown working out for them, putting them up on top of the box. It was so easy to spray down with the Odin, and we said it was a huge investment out of Zeke to go in for that weapon, but it got them the round there. Oh my, he's going in for it. Killers, an absolute madman, and it works out for one.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that's always going to be added when you have an Astra. Just the ability to have these dirty little setups, pulling players into angles, and especially in a round like this where there's only going to be pistols in play, it's going to become fairly difficult. And alright, Acend, that's probably the most knives I think I've ever seen fired off in one go. But hey, if he's going to get himself 3 kills, keep the round flawless for the side of Acend, I don't think they're going to mind.
A couple of kills would have been nice for the attackers there. I think they have a small positive to look at, which is that they did die to the Bladestorm. So those are ult points that they're getting that their opponents don't get to farm up. And it's a decently valuable ultimate taken out of the hands of Acend. At the same time, the reality is you need to follow up with some rounds after that. You gotta find a solution. And that last buy round looked abysmal from Supermassive Blaze, but that was because they relied on the crutch of that lockdown, and that got destroyed with 20 seconds left, and they had nothing that they could really do. This time around, they won't have that crutch to play with, so I'm curious what their strategy is going to be.
Well, early information seems to be the aim of the game. Passing of the drones, and Starzo tries to peek off the back of it, but Izzy will win that opener. Further information for Zeke, and he's going to go for the wallbang. He's going to get it as well. An instant trade. This man is doing so well on the Sova Odin, and well, I can see the smile on Mitch's face.
I mean, you can't really resist it, can you? As soon as Izzy got tagged up that second time, he was like, oh, I'm in trouble. He knew it. being punished for it this time around. Zeke coming in huge with the Odin, a staple of defensive side Acend. Acend on 3 rounds, and the buy round for Supermassive Blaze, they again need to find a solution. They had the early opening onto Starzo, removing the res from Ascend's hands, but they still need to get into a site. And as they look to push A, CNET is here all alone, but he has an operator and a dash still online, waiting to find a victim. There's the dash out. Oh, and he's even going for the spam. I like it. It's a good attempt, but now they're going to have to just play for the post plant, right? Yep. There we go.
Spike planted.
A lot of information garnered from the defensive side, but they're going to wait for that full rotation. They actually have a lockdown here as well, so you almost feel like the attackers are going to have to try and fight for some tree control, otherwise this is going to become incredibly difficult. They don't have any counter to it either. There are a couple of shot darts, but I don't know if they're going to be able to land it from here.
Important to break the wall first, just so that they can't focus entirely on the lockdown. They have to worry about CNET coming in from above, and as the lockdown comes to fruition, Russ is staying in position. He catches them off guard and grabs a kill. That's good work by Russ, thinning out the numbers of the defensive side, but they're still covering this. The spray from the Odin grabs a triple out of Zeke, and that is going to be close, but I think they've just about got it. Oh,
no, they don't.
The time's a little bit too low, 0.48 of a second. But in the end, that will be the round for Supermassive Blaze by a fraction of a second in it.
Yeah, I think that one of the players, it might have been Killers, was very, very close to getting it to half.
Yes.
And that would have been the round completely over, but it's just that late peek out to find the headshot onto him, which makes all the difference. It's probably not the manner in which Supermassive Blaze would have wanted to win the round because, well, they lost every single player. But that one shot from Turco, we call him the clutch player for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Target selection was on point there. A little bit more body blocking would have been nice and probably would have won the round, but these are such minute things. You can never really fix those up in the moment. Drone's going to be destroyed right away, but it's valuable. 400 credits committed, but it takes CNET out of that position in aggressive mid control. He is still sitting around here, still with the dash online, so he's going to play that little bit more aggressive and look to catch them as they come on through. Already up close is Izzy, and he catches him off guard. A quick headshot, and opt to be retrieved potentially by Supermassive Blaze. And more importantly, the man advantage is now theirs.
Trying to bait out a shot or two, but it's actually Starzo that takes the bullet instead. They didn't connect onto Zeke, and he's still doing work with this Odin. The problem now is he's completely isolated. His teammates have gone pushing, taking control over the back of mid. They'll know that it is going to be a push in that direction at this point. The problem is there anything that Zeke can do to delay them?
It's such a shame as well. Now, 2 rounds we've seen Starzo be dropped. They have to play aggressive off this over on the Supermassive Blaze side. They know that Hunter's Fury is coming in. They want to seize the map control first. They managed to go all the way towards the spawn. Holding up close as Killaz comes out. Oh, that spray was so good! Huge damage done! These other players, 50 HP, and Zeke isn't even going to be blinded up. They're dropping down. 30 bullets left in the magazine.
Oh, no!
And it's more than enough. That's 4 kills for Zeke on the backside. And Pora all alone with 9 left. They do not want to peek. They just want to run down that clock and then double peek, swinging in to close out the round. So well played by Acend, and Zeke really showing up on this Odin.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well that they made as somewhat of a recent change. Like previously on this map, we saw him playing agents like Raynor, and I was kind of looking at it going, okay, well, you just played a bit of Sober in the past, we'll see how it goes. This is an unbelievable round from him. They just couldn't clear him from the back angle. The Paranoia didn't land as well, and he just did so well with every piece of utility. The Hunter's Fury taking out the lockdown, doing some damage along the way. I'm starting to wonder if they're just going to have to leave the B site alone, because at the moment, Supermassive Blaze can't make a dent.
Well, they are going to send Pora towards this side of the map right away. There's been a lot of success, though, for Supermassive Blaze in middle. This time around, though, they're not going to pressure it, and I think that's almost a good read. When you find success like that 2 or 3 rounds in a row, there's going to be an adaptation. Acend are not going to keep doing the same thing, and you see that now. They're playing a bait setup with an Astra Star to try to pull them in as they get up close, and then obviously you've got Zeke with the Odin playing in spawn, ready to wall bang away when the pull does come through.
Again, we're going to see these drones for information. The wall holding off as well onto short. This is a different round from what we've seen previously, but as you said, the information is now there. We've also got the spike in the hands of Izzy, just waiting for anybody to try and get aggressive into long, but the fact is for now, they're almost just waiting to see if someone on Acend gets a little bit cheeky.
Well, that's the idea, right? The drone just spotted 2 players outside of A, and so hopefully someone on B pushes or someone gets a little bit aggressive down middle. But it's not going to happen. Not with the setup they have. Killjoy and Astra holding down pretty much 66% of the map in a 3-man stack on the A side, ready to take these fights against the pistol. Still, the Blade Storm is online for Izzy, as we've seen, and that's the real point of danger. The shot not going to be connected by CNET right away. The sprays managed to catch Brave on the crossover, but Izzy has made it to the site. Starzo is taken down, but the shot is missed. A classic fight that goes Izzy's way. He's even going in for the spike plants, and it looks like he's going to get it. This is huge. Supermassive Blaze now have a lot more control to play with than it looked like in the early round. Turco down below with a Vandal, and the first kill is his. 8 bullets left. The Odin trying to find him, spraying into the dark, looking for those final tags, but they'll have to drop on him eventually. And here they come. Zeke still closing it out, but damn good round for Supermassive Blaze.
Zeke is unbelievable with the Odin. I almost wonder why they weren't doing this before. It just seems like he's so unbelievably comfortable. But yeah, as you said, that really is a strong round for Supermassive Blaze. They came in with fairly little. They lost a lot of players initially, and still Izzy manages to at least make it close, get them a plant and some extra credits, and at least earn a couple of extra orbs for other players here and there as well. So it's not the worst round. The problem for now, though, is that we need to see them starting to get back onto the board again, as we know that Supermassive Blaze should have a decent defensive side, but I don't think Acend are any slouches on the attack.
Yeah, well, that's really the problem, right? And for Supermassive Blaze, again, let's remember the context. They barely won that pistol round. It came down to 9 HP on 2 players to put them 2-0 up. There really has been very little success with Pora constantly farming up those lockdowns, but they never really do anything for them. The counter's always there on the other side. The mid control that Supermassive Blaze have found again and again works out this time around for the bait, but they still need to deal with Zeke. So far, he's been untouchable, but he's only good for 1. Starzo res online, but no ability to get them all back up. He has to take the duels as they come on through this choke point, and they just swing wide, taking him down, finding the B site. And Supermassive Blaze may just have found an answer to getting into this site and winning a round.
Oh, they do actually manage to catch out Brave, though. A peek that maybe is a little bit audacious. Cosmic Divide probably not going to be too valuable in this scenario unless they can try and section off the jewels, maybe close out the boathouse, give them something a little bit extra for this spot, but Bone Cold being caught leaves it all onto Killers, and they know exactly where he is. Still, that's 2 instant shots! It's into the 1 versus 1. The turret may not spot out Pora, at least for the moment, but it gives just that little bit of extra information. I think he thinks he's over into the boathouse, though. Pora will close it way too close for comfort, and only 1 man standing again. Supermassive Blaze, since they've got into the buys, they haven't had a clean round.
I mean, the problem for them has been getting through those choke points, getting onto the sites, and this time around on the buy round, they make it happen. It looks dominant, it looks convincing. What was it, a 4v2? And it ends up with just Pora left to clutch it out. That is not an acceptable round, and they will not be happy. Look at this. Double swinging, they were both peeking him, and Killaz still gets away with 2. That's a huge whip, and it almost comes with a huge prize tag.
And that's saying, like, they've now won 2 rounds other than the pistol that were with 0 players surviving and 1. So credits-wise, they're still in the bin, and for the defensive side, they're going to purchase into this one. They've got 4 ultimates online as well.
They've just shock-darted Pora perfectly. It landed on his feet. 65 health, no shields left. Off such a cheap piece of utility. 150 credits invested for that. Zeke's on fire right now, but look at the ultis for Acend. We talked about it already. Starzo's had the res the entire game, and just no opportunities to use it. But this time might be a little bit different. Killaz is holding for the cross. It is a passive hold on the A site, looking for a hard retake. Using that lockdown as we saw before, but Russ, obviously, Hunter's Fury online, he has to be dealt with if they're to have any chance of using that lockdown to get back in.
But that's the thing, we've got a lot of ultimates online, but some that will just be used as direct counters to others. So if anything, for now, Supermassive Blaze is just going to go in. Actually, Zeke's just popped his. This means they could, in theory, use the lockdown at a later date. He's done a lot of damage off the back, and actually Killers has gone down to the Nano Swarm. A little bit of a surprise. We're going to see those ults go out exactly the same time, but one's already going to be destroyed by the Hunter's Fury. However, the frags are going pretty well so far for Acend.
They're going to bail out, let this lockdown go to completion.
All of
that's
them.
a big problem. All 3 players today,
they're
hunting them down. Brave finding 2, and it's all down to Acend, who's still trapped. That is a big, big loss for Acend. SuperMassive Blaze were under threat. They were damaged up. But that Hunter's Fury being used in such a nonchalant way basically just gave SuperMassive Blaze the round.
Yeah, that did seem like... obviously, it did a lot of damage. Like, if you're looking at damage alone, like it really wasn't a bad ultimate at all from Zeke. But it was just the fact that, as said, going into that, it looked like it was going to be lockdown, counter, lockdown, counter. Like, that was how that was going to go. Instead, he pops it early. They have no counter. 3 players get detained. And I think that now they actually have a chance to come out on top in this one. And, well, for the defenders, they now have basically nothing to play with. Still got a res online, but... not going to use it in this round.
No, I mean, that's a good gamble, yeah, considering that it's been on for about the past 7 or 8 rounds. That res has been online. Just as we said, there's no opportunity to use it, or there hasn't been thus far. Now, moving into round number 11, Acend have practically no economy. They've got sheriffs. And you saw CNET wanted to go for a judge, but it's just that little bit too expensive. I find it hard to believe they'll get a whole lot done. SuperMassive Blaze are going to be acutely aware of what Acend have and the weaknesses that they're bringing into this round. So it's all about just grouping up. And in fact, look at how passive they are on their mid control. They literally have 2 players sat outside the A side, way back in the spawn, looking to just take these duels together if they do come around.
SuperMassive Blaze clearly wary of the economy of their opponents in this round. Not going to allow them to get away with anything too cheeky. Also got the turret watching, alarm bot making sure there can be no aggression into B. Now they're going to start their push in that direction. Even still, though, because they've given up so much control over on the A site, there's actually somewhat of a stack building in B.
Now this could be problematic. In fact, Bone Cold on his way through to cover middle, and that aggression out of Killaz just gives so much value. 40 seconds left. Acend have got the playbook. They know exactly what's coming towards them, but the only problem is going to be that they do not have the weaponry to fight this. Izzy is actually already on the site, spraying away for 1. He doesn't know that there's 2 more here. Bone Cold breaking out the door. CNET's good for the first. Shut down right after. The trades are good. SuperMassive Blaze use a little dash to get in backside. They're covering all their angles. They're playing this together, making sure they're trading. There's not a lot you can really get done here short of a god-tier play out of one of these players.
Yeah, and I think it's just Izzy basically cleaning everything up at this point. Having a pretty good map. I think it's an important point to make. We're always going to make the comparisons between the 2 Jets in the server. Right now, it seems like he's been winning a lot of those duels, had a lot of strong openers. That was one of the things that was really curious, though, the last time we witnessed Acend. I was showing it to you earlier. Just like, if you look at the opening kill stats, they were really far in the favor of SuperMassive Blaze, even though they lost the map. I think it was something. I think it was Izzy was actually like +8 or something, which is just absurd. So to lose a map off of that showed how, in so many rounds, Acend were actually fighting back from a deficit. In this stage, though, it looks like SuperMassive Blaze have done a little bit better to actually convert a lot of those rounds.
The operator rings out straight away. That was a secondary weapon for Izzy. He has a Vandal and a Blade Storm. The op drop behind them. Now, there's a problem with that. You've got to be very careful not to give up this map control and give your opponents that op to play with as they fight back into the late stage of the round. But as you can see, with all the map control they've given up, SuperMassive Blaze are entirely focused on an A play. The problem is the wall that's up on B.
Yeah.
It's complete control. 1 player holding middle, and everybody else can commit to this A site. If SuperMassive Blaze go in as they look to be in the next couple of seconds, they are going to run into another heavy stack, but this time it'll be against rifles, and Izzy is already on the site. He's being pulled in, he's being challenged, somehow though managing to evade detection, make it to backside. Russ and Turco combine for a double entry, and this is a disaster out of Acend. A great attempt by CNET up above, but Russ shuts him down on the trade, and SuperMassive Blaze are not giving away these advantages.
Oh, finally we're going to see that res pop. It took the final round of the half for something to be invested here for Acend as they look to make their way through. It's brave to shut down another, and they will hold on to the site. 7-5 in favor of SuperMassive Blaze. A close half for sure, but towards the end, they had the resurgence we wanted.
Yes, most definitely. With the 2-0 start they had, they kind of stalled out a little bit. It was starting to look like Acend just had the playbook, like they knew exactly what was going down. You look at these pushes that they had towards the B site, both of the times they used their lockdown there was nothing found, but then they went to the B, the C, the D plan, and every single one of those seemed to work out for Supermassive Blaze, now seeming to be in prime position coming out of this half.
Yeah, a solid half for them as well. And I honestly, I think that their defensive side is normally the one where they're a little bit more deadly. So I'm excited to see what they're going to have to offer in the next one.
Yeah, I think when I look at Acend in the current state, they're not going to be giving up anytime soon. Their attack is definitely strong, but before we get into that, we're going to throw things over to the desk for a little halftime analysis. Yeah, it was a great point brought up by Kakuka there towards the end. It's like when you have these ultimates online, when you have your res, and then also add in Zeke's ulti that he used up when they didn't realize, I guess, that Pora had the lockdown. Acend have been playing a sloppy game, and that's not something I expected to say coming into this, but maybe it's a bad half for them. A little bit of a warm-up needed. Now we come into half number 2 with Supermassive Blaze on the defense, and that's a great shock dart to start it, and a second right onto Bone Cold. No smokes for this push and very little health.
He's done about 200 damage with that one. I'm pretty sure that Jonas is going to have a big smile on his face after that one, but we'll see. It's going to be the push coming through. Russ in a solid position to at least try and get something done. They need to isolate him, and they will, but they've taken so much damage along the way. Still, though, it comes back into a 2 versus 2 scenario. Izzy playing ring around the Rosie, and it leaves just one man standing. It's Zeke. He's been fantastic so far in this map, but this is still a big ask.
Yeah, most definitely is. 50 HP in a pistol round like this, and there's 2 ghosts on the other side ready to take you down. You see the paranoia there, right? He's constantly thinking, like, every bullet he fires, every time he knives the wall, someone's about to jump around and take him down, but they are just turtled in on the site. Now he's spotted out. I'll look to peek him together. Or not. That's one way to handle it, Izzy. Quick little shot onto him to take him down, and 8 found for Supermassive Blaze. A great start with both pistols going their way, and we talk about it a lot. That gives you a huge leg up in the series.
For sure. Like, if you win both pistols on your map choice and you don't win, then you almost have to start looking at yourself at what you're doing wrong. So we'll have to wait and see.
That we will. That we will. The second round always one of these that's sort of a throwaway a lot of the time. You'll play with classics, maybe a few sheriffs, but I'm taking a look at CNED. With a Marshall in this man's hands, the round is not guaranteed at all. There's an immediate tag, a dash out of there. Izzy, now on 50 HP, is to be much more cautious about peeking any of these pistols.
I think he was going to try and make a bit of a push back towards Turco. Luckily, I don't think he's going to need that extra HP. Turco just farming up every single player, and nice shot from Izzy to close it as well. 1 player drop, not too much of an issue. 2 orbs needed for a res as well after only a couple of rounds, and Supermassive Blaze are now in an excellent spot.
Yeah, definitely. That is a leg up. Like, you get 4 rounds for free, basically. And you look at how these pistols play out. They've said it time and time again. You just need that 1 player to show up. A couple of headshots delivered. They feel much less predictable and much less controllable than when you look at some of the other rounds that play out in the later stages. But with Supermassive Blaze finding both, they're 1 away from double digits, and in fact from doubling up the scoreline of Acend. That said, the attackers currently playing in with all the rifles they could possibly want. They've pushed Izzy out of mid. And remember, Supermassive Blaze did a really good job of forcing Acend out of this mid control when it came to the first couple of rounds. Now, Acend are looking to do the same, and it seems like a lot of the early round fights, early half fights, are going to be around this position.
This is one where
here,
if Supermassive Blaze can even make it costly, it'll put them into a pretty damn good spot. For now, though, they're going to be taking their time. It's still walled over on the A side, but if anything, they're more stacked up on that side of the map. The Killjoy utility is holding things back, and CNED is going to find the opener, but at a fairly hefty cost, and Izzy is already going to pick off Zeke.
It's a good start for Supermassive Blaze, making these weaker weapons work for them. Izzy going over towards the Spectre. Getting back into the site now is a pretty big challenge. You know, for Acend, if they manage to just lock this out, hold down the crossfires with the weapons that they have, it should be next to impossible. And take a look at the utility for Supermassive Blaze. With the exception of a recon, they haven't really got anything to play with. Now Recon's about to be thrown out, signaling that the push is about to start. Drop down. Oh, well, the wallbang's taking them down. This is looking a little bit shaky. Acend losing lots of players. Izzy, the last alive. He found 3 in that round. The first to Marshall, a double out of the Spectre, and he was so close to making that one work.
Yeah, it's been an incredibly strong map from him. In fact, he has basically been the difference maker. If you look at the scoreboard right now, he's got double the kills of the player in second on his screen, but have to see what they're going to be able to do in the buy, because this was a huge bonus round for them. Financially, it's going to put them in a decent spot. He's also going to have his Blade Storm, although I believe that Acend might also have it on the other side, so a battle of the Jets able to ensue. And in fact, is he going to go straight in for the Operator, so he's not messing about.
I mean, I guess it's one of the advantages when you win out a round like that. Or I say win out. I know SuperMassive Blaze didn't win the round, but they sort of did, considering what they came in with. They should not have had anywhere near that damage. Now, Acend investing their full economy into this one. This is a huge round for SuperMassive Blaze. If they manage to win it out, they take a massive stride towards closing the map. Bone Cold, again, going to be met by shock darts towards B main. He might start to stay away from that position because it seems like they're magnetized towards him every time he steps in.
Again, we're going to see the same wall going down for Acend. Locks off a portion of the map, which until it's broken, they don't really have to face off in that angle. Now, it has been slightly damaged, at least by the side of SuperMassive Blaze, just to try and hold players onto that side of the map, and it has done just that, leaving just a couple to defend versus Acend as they now look to back towards the B side.
There's going to be a full push in. SuperMassive Blaze quite a bit away from rotating. These players on this site need to do a massive job of holding it down. It's Pora and Russ caught inside the boathouse. Pora is somehow able to avoid being pulled all the way in. He catches them by surprise. The Blade Storm doesn't connect, and Russ, the final man standing there, sure, he'll go down, but he's already taken 3 kills. He's left Starzo all alone. And even with the plant, the res won't be online. And they're rushing him down. Look at that paranoia dash in, and you are gone out of the round. SuperMassive Blaze doing such a great job here in Acend, leagues apart from the last time we saw them.
Oh, for sure. And they put themselves into an incredibly good spot now. That bonus round, not only finding such a huge amount of damage, but now they come in keeping 3 players alive. We start to see that success from Russ, which we've desired. As said, going into this series, he's one of those players which I think hasn't hit anywhere near his peak so far in this tournament. So for him to start just locking down the site leaves Acend with not too much to go off of in this round. And with the current advantage, they already have a 4 rounds, looking to increase it to 5. I'm starting to worry for Acend on this map.
Oh yeah, I mean, the next buy round is their only shot to take it. They need to start with an incredibly dominant buy round out. In this one here, it is pistols in hand, and I'm willing to discount it because they shouldn't be able to find anything. SuperMassive Blaze are holding down B main, stopping any sort of damage there. That means they can stack up the A side a little bit more heavily. Izzy, early aggression down middle, keeping his dash online until he needed to use it. Allowed him to get that frag, and well, I mean, it's going as expected. I like the attempt by CNED to close the distance, but there are simply too many players around here for him to really find a gap to go undetected, to catch an angle where they're surprised. I'm actually kind of shocked that Russ is going in for that frag, but okay, fair enough.
He's feeling it. Oh dear. It happens every once in a while. It's going to be the whiff, and actually that kill coming in quick enough, I was going to say. Can they get the Operator?
Nope.
No?
Nowhere near it. That's a huge loss. I mean, they're 11-6 up, but it's a butterfly effect, or potentially it could be. Losing that means much bigger investment coming into this round if they want to have the op online. If they don't, it'll probably be Blade Storm out of Izzy, which still limits his ability to fight. But instead, they have opted to allow Bind back in, and you do not do that if you think, yeah, we're probably going to lose 13-4, no worries, move on. Like, they clearly have done the research, and we talked about it with both of G2's series. Obviously, with the format of their group, they had a lot of rematches. But beating a team twice is so difficult because they adapt. And from what we've seen of SuperMassive Blaze on this map, that adaptation is there, at least for Acend.
Now, this is where we see what Acend are going to be able to do. I think they sold the Operator, so maybe going to try and pick up the pace a little bit here. I like this from SuperMassive Blaze, though. A 3-man stack early. They are going to get scanned up, though. And Izzy, he's going to stick around, but he only just survives. He will get healed back up, at least for the moment. But the rest of the team is starting to be pincered on. It's going to be a spray down, though! They've just destroyed the push of Acend, leaving just 2 players remaining. And honestly, at this point, what does Zeke and Killers do here?
Zeke's got the ult orb at least. That's a positive, Tom, but it's gonna have Hunter's Fury for next round. It's all okay. That's what you need for the comeback. This is looking incredible from SuperMassive Blaze on a number of fronts. Individually, they are showing up right there. Again, something that we've talked about, the fact that, okay, there we go. The fact that you're being split, if you allow them to gain control over short and push up A long completely uncontested, you're in a lot of trouble. But instead, they identify that they're being split, they fight for short with 2 players, they decide that that's where they want to hold it down, and Brave does a great job here of taking down CNET and Starzo, and it's the fact that, like, if Turco wasn't there, Brave probably gets 1 kill, dies, they split site, rounds over. But they made that call, split-second call, to send all their forces there and try to fight it, and that's what's given them 12. Also, they dropped the spike. I mean, there's no way they could have known the spike was coming there, but it's a nice little bonus.
This leaves a horrible situation for Acend. They're now looking to come in. Sure, they've got 4 ultimates to play with, but there's plenty of counters there available. Straight away, we're going to see the Hunter's Fury popped, and actually, Russ, while going to try and take out the ult, has actually managed to take 2 kills with him. We are going to still see the kill ult go through, though. He didn't destroy it. He just ended up killing the players.
He got a kill, and then he targeted it. Obviously, seeing where the other Hunter's Fury was coming from, Starzo putting up a good fight on the site. Move towards his teammates now after a quick double kill. Getting out of there is kind of tough, getting over towards the site. So instead, he's going to play inside of main and look to take the contact as they cross over and then swing with Killers. This is a powerful setup for Acend. The smoke on Brave might give them a little bit of an opportunity, swapping over the op. Bogdan's Law there just to allow Brave to try and take this kill. Make advantage of his low HP, and in fact, Izzy's gone in for 2! This is ridiculous! He's on the side and going for the defuse. It's going to be taken halfway. The turret doesn't even catch him to start with, and inside the cloudburst, he is defusing, dropping down. Izzy takes the kill to Gilles, and that is a disaster of a round. It looked like Acend would at least push up to 7, and they get right away. This pause that we've had, they're all, sitting in it, waiting for this map to start. How do you see that affecting these teams?
Honestly, I don't think it will affect them a massive amount. It might just remove some of the momentum from SuperMassive Blaze, which I think actually plays into Ascend's hands. I think this is a map we expect them to win, and SuperMassive Blaze are going to have to come in red hot if they're going to take this one.
100% agree with you. Professionals on this level, they tend to be pretty good at just brushing these things off. Me, on the other hand, I'd probably be having a meltdown of panic, of sheer stress. But then again, that's why I don't play. SuperMassive Blaze on the attack side. We said that they've started every map in the series on the attack side. You know that they're comfortable here. Now they're going to be moving in for an A hit, and Acend have actually rotated Starzo all the way over to the B site.
Yeah, they have a lot of ability to delay when it comes to A, but it looks like there's going to be a push straight through it, and Bone Cold, even on just 1 HP, manages to sneak past through the Poison Orb and find himself the opener. The wraparound from Russ is also going to meet Bone Cold on the Brimstone, and he's going ham in the pistol. 3 kills already. Last man standing will fall to Killers, and Acend win a clean pistol round.
That was so smart by Bone Cold as well, stepping inside the Poison Orb. Sure, he got lit down to 1 HP. That was a risk, a roll of the dice, but when they'd already rotated a player towards B, they couldn't rely on just sitting back and allowing them to push in. He rolled the dice and it worked out perfectly for him, and then obviously, because he's not damaged, he's decayed, he gets his 100 health back up, and he still doesn't end up taking a lick of damage by the time the round ends. 1-0 for Acend in a well-earned pistol round at last.
Yeah, as said, this is their map. Within EMEA, they have been the kings of it. They have dominated pretty much every single team within the region. The only time they lost it was in that sort of final match versus Gambit, where they ended up slipping out after they'd already qualified, of course. So other than that, we've seen them dominate SuperMassive Blaze twice, 13-5, 13-6. We've seen them beat Gambit another time as well, and G2 13-2. So this is definitely a map where they are unbelievable.
And they run a strong comp, obviously based off the Fnatic comp that we saw back in the day, now elevated a little bit further, and they're bringing it to the international stage in style. 5 versus 4, and it's just cleaning up versus these pistols. Nice and easy. Killers coming pretty close to having his ulti online, actually, just 3 away. Zeke Closing out the round there with the judge. In terms of the weaponry they have, Tom, in particular with the comp that they're running, I actually see them having a really big chance of dealing damage coming into this round. Never mind just dealing damage. If Supermassive Blaze aren't careful, they can end up losing the next one.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, the fact that this was a Prime Gaming flawless round means that realistically their finances are going to be good for the next one anyway. So even if they were to lose this, even if they didn't really do any damage, they're still going to be able to buy into the next. So it's not too much of a worry, an opportunity to build up some ultimate orbs as well. And we know that they have some ridiculously strong ultimates on that Acend side. Of course, Brimstone maybe not the most popular agent, but we do like that orbital strike.
Oh yeah, and we love Brimstone on Bone Cold. Boy, this guy uses the agent, the way the post plans can be played, his mollies can be on point. As we come into this one, we know Supermassive Blaze are going to be playing it slow. Obviously, having seen a judge in the previous round, there's going to be some concerns there. So they need to be very careful about, first of all, how they seize map control, but also their utility usage. They have to have util to use when they go in to push these sort of angles, and it looks like they're being cautious of Bone Cold crossing, but none of them already being across. Oh, there we go. Okay, they're kind of clearing it, but he's gone undetected. This could be dangerous.
It could be. They've also got the smoke, so it's isolating the duel slightly. 45 seconds left as they look to take the fight and actually don't manage to pick him off. Even though Bone Cold isn't getting any kills from this, he's delaying them so much. Even going to put down another smoke. 35 seconds left. They're either going to have to make a play through it, and he's just trying to spam back pass. The drone will eventually clear it out, but the fact is they're now pushing into a 3-man stack with only 25 seconds.
Couple little tags in there for Bone Cold. Flash gets him, but he still takes down Izzy. Now looking for a little bit more, but out of ammo. The pistol had to come out. A player spotted on the site, but they don't know about Acend, who swings out and grabs a double, a triple, in fact, leaving Pora all alone, and Acend finishes him off to 3-0 for Acend. And Tom, I said with the comp they were running, you could see Acend having a much better chance than normal coming into that third round, but frankly, that was just ridiculous.
Yeah, you look at this round, and again, in hindsight, maybe you're looking at a kill feed, you're going, Acend, 4 kills, the classic Acend round. But the fact is, the hero of that round was basically Bone Cold.
Yes, absolutely.
He put like a minute off the clock alone. There was no one else with him. Sure, they had the Sage will go down initially, but he was just running Riot, putting down smokes, putting down the Molotov, and even getting a kill before he actually dies. Like, that's something that SMB have to deal with better if they're going to be able to get any rounds on their attack.
And a real shame for them was they had that Astra Star down on B long, but they thought it was clear because they'd seen no contact. So they took it back, and literally a second later, spotted Bone Cold was there. If they knew that in advance, he would not have gotten out of there. There would have been a grav well. They would have pushed through a smoke, post-flash, and taken him down. This is an incredibly aggressive stance to a round where they're up against pistols. And now the spike is obtained. Zeke has already spotted out Pora, and Bone Cold takes that info and finds a frag. Supermassive Blaze only of Sheriffs, and now they've got to fight back in to where the spike is. They've already picked up one, though.
It's getting a little bit worrying, but thankfully Zeke is popping off once again. This seems to be the map where he just thrives. They put him back onto that raise. We know what he can do with this agent, and the fact that he's already getting closer and closer to that showstopper is a fantastic sign. The other problem is as well for Supermassive Blaze, because they're not really getting any kills along the way, the only ultimate orbs they're actually gaining are from dying. And now sure, that is bringing them close with at least a couple. Cosmic Divide not too far away. They've also got themselves the Seekers on Turco, but on the other side of things, we're getting a lot closer to some very impactful ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the orbital strike to play with, and yes, typically the impact of that is going to be found much more so on the attacking side, but I would not count Bone Cold out of impact in these sort of rounds. You're going to get the orb taken right at the start, putting Zeke just 3 away from a showstopper, which could be massively impactful coming into the later stages, but probably more so the next round than this one. Supermassive Blaze have given up all the control of B-Long. They're holding for the push that came through in the previous round, but Acend aren't going to go and repeat the same strategy. They're not silly. Instead, they've gone for a little bit of aggression and taking the orb, and now they're holding it down inside Hookah and putting an A-rotate into play.
Risky game for Killers, but again, we're going to see them just denying the space initially, and actually Starzo getting into a slightly more aggressive spot. It seems like he might have an idea that they're about to push this smoke. Now they're going to put up their screen, but he's waiting on the edge of it. A push through here would almost definitely grant him a kill, and is he going to be able to avoid the drone? I think he has. Now that smoke might not last much longer, but he's going to find himself a freebie for certain.
The orbital strike, again, this is just splitting the push. They're stopping them coming out of Bath, focusing on the fight over towards mid, and Starzo rips them a new one. Supermassive Blaze in a 2v4, and they're trapped inside of Bath. They need to make a move out of here with 20 seconds left. Or else it's just going to be down to the save, and it looks like they are still going to commit for this round. Starzo actually getting pushed on, and with 10 seconds left, this could be an opportunity to get a plant down. Another kill comes back, but Brave needs to deal with Zeke if they're to have any chance, and the time was too low, let alone his health is on 0. 5 rounds for Acend, as they refuse to let Supermassive Blaze have anything.
Yeah, it's one of those rounds as well where, sure, towards the end of it, you look at it and go, okay, that's pretty close. They made it costly. They brought it back a little bit further than you might have expected. But it doesn't really matter. Like, the amount of rounds that we've now seen in a streak, a flawless in there as well, previously, means that the finances are absolutely fine for Acend. They won their bonus as well. So they're in a spot where, okay, 2 players is not ideal, but it's not like it's going to affect them at all financially.
This is a situation as well where we're again seeing the adaptation, the on-the-fly thinking coming out of these guys. CNET's going out for more. I don't know if he realized he's playing a Sage this time around. That's going to be an operator on the floor and a completely unnecessary peek, excuse me, to give them the pick.
With Izzy down, well, we get some old school operator play. Russ, known for his jet before joining this squad. And, well, maybe there's a reason Izzy's picking up nowadays.
Don't do him like that. Nice molly. Nice molly for damage. Yeah, obviously Russ was the player who picked up CNET's spot on BBL as the jet operator player. He was literally the replacement for the man that got taken down and gave that op over, but he hasn't found anything with it. It now falls to Pora to try and get some damage done, all the while that they're slowly pushing up long. There is a flank play coming in. Starzo's again taking contact, teammates are there, and this is textbook. This is clean. I am absolutely loving the way that Acend are approaching this map. Their A pushes, like reaction to the Seekers coming out to put the orbital strike in, and then just split the push, take down one side of it, and have that control to fight and box the other players in. And then in this round here, okay, I'm gonna be honest, absolutely hated what CNET did, but after that, they managed to hold it together perfectly.
When that starts to happen, that's when this map truly can get out of control, because 6-0, this is already very dangerous for Supermassive Blaze.
Oh, it most definitely is. The upside is, for Supermassive Blaze, as you pointed out, the next map is incredibly strong for them.
Yeah.
And not so much for Acend, in fact, being their insta-ban. So that coming out can mean 2 things. I mean, look, Acend allowed it through for a reason. They banned Haven for a reason. So it is definitely a moment of uncertainty. But from all the data that we have, that favors Supermassive Blaze. So they don't need to feel stressed if the start of this game or this map indeed at all doesn't go their way. Although this round has started out well for them. But CNET again falling right off the bat.
Yeah, they have to have a decent idea where Killers was. The flash wouldn't have caught him in any other spot, so they have been able to clear at least the close angle for now. Hunter's Fury also online, so if someone gets tagged by this, I almost assume that we'll see it come through just to almost guarantee the round. 2 openers should be more than enough. And Killers, well, he's in trouble. Trying to dance his way out of this one. I think he's going to get away with it as well, so that's something at least, and they may not know the Starzo's waiting on the corner, but here strikes Izzy again. It's only 1, but there is no chance for Killers here. He should be shut down at the back of the site, and it's left on to Bone Cold.
Yeah, the 1v4 that looks practically impossible. Great push out of Supermassive Blaze. The early fight going their way up against CNET, shutting him down in mid. They relocate to B. They blitz out onto the site and take every single fight they can. And it's even that Hunter's Fury used to push Killaz out of position. That means that he's not ready to react to his teammate. He's not ready to take that fight right away because he's jumping around. He's trying not to die. And then Starzo all alone gets shut down. Although it doesn't get a kill, and the damage is almost superficial for the most part, it's about the disruption to the strategy and the setup that Acend had in play.
As said, with the manner in which these rounds have gone, Acend are not going to be in too much trouble just yet. And already, instantly trying to lock out any pressure into B. It was the success point in the previous round.
Why do they put the Viper wall down if they're going to use the Viper's pit? That's one like small thing for me. I'd much prefer to use it for post plant, you know? Okay, it's there to help you out in hookah, but anyways, he's sending it. Bone Cold's down right away. A man that's solo held down B long for upwards of a minute before didn't last even a few seconds.
Yeah, and his ultimate's also gone out of the round, so it gives a lot of the retake potential away. A very aggressive position as well from Zeke. Normally we'd call this the one and done. He's going to be in quite a bit of trouble. He has to go peeking, and actually, he'll take one out, goes back with the showstopper, and he's still staying alive. The nade will get him out of there, and Zeke is just going ham! A third player dropped. He should have got nothing from that position, and now it's left all on Pora. Everybody on the side of Acend is just thriving through these rounds. And while SuperMassive Blaze have got to be kicking themselves, they knew he was there.
That drone spots him, but of course your first thought's going to be that he'll try to blast pack out, he'll try to run away. You don't expect this kind of a peek. Then the showstopper, I mean, there was no way for us to get away. He had to try to take the kill, try to face him in the same attempt by Izzy, and even if he got the kill, he would have been taken down by the nade. That was unbelievable.
Look, I really want to zoom in of just Bone Cold's face there. He's just like, what?
Yeah, what just happened?
How have you done that?
That was a one and done. And the man was playing with a Vandal as well. So much harder to get multi-kills in those positions. But hey, good job that he had his nade and his rocket launcher to come in and stop the show.
Oh, that's a lot of information. They've just seen 3 players deep down in the smoke.
Oh my God! What was he doing?
He had the Tiger out.
It was a choice. No, I think it was a flash, right? And he had a choice of either popping a flash or even if it was the Tiger getting out of there. Just the information wasn't there to play with.
Nice.
That was absolutely amazing, and it's such a nasty little thing to orbital strike right down on top of him, because that is the position that you pop your drone from, that you pop your Tiger from, that you'll flash for your teammates, where you know I'm not in a spot where I can be taken down, and regardless of...
He's done that in an eco as well.
Versus an eco, absolutely. But hey, if you let them get up close like that, whether it's a Tiger or a guiding light coming around the corner, that can bridge the gap way into their favor and give them a weapon potentially to play with. And we've seen what SuperMassive Blaze can do typically when they have a weapon to work with in those low buy rounds. But at 8-1, we haven't really seen a lot from them on this map. And I think that the story that we were pitching, that maybe, you know, they've made the adaptations and they've left this map in for a reason. Well, whether that's true or not, it ain't working.
No, I think they will have known coming into this one that it was going to be an uphill battle, not wanting to play one of their permas, moving away from other maps within the series, and you can't really blame them for that. The other side, Acend, it's good to see them back. As you said, in the last map, it definitely was, there was a lot to be desired, I think is a way to put it. Now, there are some decent ults here, Mitch, so it's not like it's all doom and gloom for SuperMassive Blaze, but with a minute coming up on the clock, they actually don't really have any map control just yet. They're playing very passive.
This has been an explosive map for Acend so far. The rotate on the way to A, but for now there's no choice but to just give it up. The Seekers confirming that there's only the one player close, but that info gets old very, very quickly. In fact, the entirety of Acend now in towards the spawn. Won't be able to do much up against this Viper's pit. They have delayed the plant a moment and the nade through. Oh, this is going to buy time. Zeke goes right into the site, an ambitious play that does not pay off.
This has just become spraying through a Viper's pit, and it's not exactly gone to plan. It's left all up to Starzo, incredibly low. Now the spike was dropped, and they're yet to get it planted, but it will eventually go down. This leaves the possibility of this round as slim to none. He needs an instant frag, and Pora is already waiting. The retake won't come through for the side of Acend. SuperMassive Blaze have their second round.
Big bait, good. A move by SuperMassive Blaze to catch Acend with their pants down. Just a one player on site, gets tagged by a drone. There's no way you stay to take that fight, and that allows them enough space to get in and put the Viper's pit down. Zeke was making one of the more ambitious plays that I think I've ever seen.
He's feeling it.
Yeah, well, look, sometimes you're 8-1 up and you want to just make a flashy play, get your highlight reel buffed up, but it didn't work out this time around. Still, that is not a repeatable round for SuperMassive Blaze, as Viper's Pit ain't going to be online coming into the rest of this half. With 2 rounds left, but Zeke has just been completely destroyed.
All right, Forrest's starting to wake up a little bit. He's actually going to go through his own screen and just opens up the A site solo. The remaining 3 players from Acend might actually have a choice to make here. Maybe thinking about keeping some of the weaponry through. Never mind, see that? Now taking 3 players with him. What is this map made of? Just 2 remaining on either side, and there's a chance now for Acend.
As if he's just ran through that smoke. They had absolutely no notion that he would. Poison Orb was down, activated, and they were about to snakebite it. Just a second of a gap left open, but CNED capitalized on it, flashed to backside. They know they can push through now without any sort of punishment, but it's Izzy far away with an operator in hand. The bullet gives him a haircut up behind Brave. Shuts Bone Cold down, and Starzo again needs the clutch. Up against an off. The flash will be shot out, but the time is so low. All he needs to do is run that clock down, and I think Izzy has gotten away with it. Another round for Supermassive Blaze by the skin on their teeth.
I still can't believe the CNED managed to get 3 kills there, and all in all, like, they've managed to take every single weapon out of the hands of their opponent and pick up an operator for CNED, so it gives something to be played with in the next round, but I feel like just a lot of these spots have been very sloppy from Supermassive Blaze. Like, they've given themselves opportunities, they've been very good at taking space, but just 3 players pushing through there, it just seems so unnecessarily risky when you already had a 5-on-3.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It was a real roll of the dice yet again, and we've seen it come back to bite them in the past, but this time around, Supermassive Blaze have their 3 rounds. Can they push up to 4? It's the final round of the half, and take a look at what Acend have to work with. A res on CNED. That could prompt them for some early round aggression, but actually, they're playing more conventional, more of a default, maybe not wanting to take any risks with the way Supermassive Blaze have been able to capitalize on the back of the rotations previously.
After taking a lot of control, making a lot of noise into mid and bathrooms, it is a fallback from Supermassive Blaze. They've done well over the last few rounds to bait these rotations. Acend quite quick to rotate in a lot of cases after not spotting anything over onto A. It's the drone to pull back Starzo. He was actually heading into B. They had the right idea, and you can just see him running back and forth. They fall into Zeke, and CNED is quick to keep the advantage in their favor.
Oh, his pathing was a little bit rough there, but luckily no one got around to punish him in time. A recon to backside destroyed instantly. They know there's 2 players here, but CNED is taking them down through the wall. There is nowhere to hide from this guy right now. Supermassive Blaze choose instead to run away. They're not going towards the A site. Not just yet. It's a relocation around to long. They don't want to jump. Oh, well, they don't want to jump out of hookah, but they're going to jump up long, right into his scope, give a free kill away, and with 10 seconds left, CNED quickly dispatches his final rival. 9-3 at the half, and this is as dominant as we feared it would be for Acend.
Well, that's the thing. We talk about the last map, and one of the things highlighted on the desk was that it did look like Izzy had CNED's number a little bit. Like,
sure.
He had a lot of opening picks, aggressive plays where he was performing incredibly well. It's not been the same on map 2. I think Izzy currently has 3 kills, and CNED only has 4 deaths. So,
and CNED's start was pretty trash too. What he had an operator 3 times. The first 3 times he pulled it out, he got slapped out of the round right away. So this isn't even like the clean CNED's show. He's actually been kind of nerfed at the start, but really found his feet towards the end of this. That is an incredibly dominant half out of Acend. You know what? I'm gonna need some fresh perspectives on this one. Let's toss it over to the desk to see what they make of Supermassive Blaze's chances. Well, that was
not even sure what that means. I'll be honest.
That was kind of mean.
Flamed. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
I'll see you down there in a moment, right, Sue? You've made a mistake here, putting me on the desk for the next game.
He doesn't even need to roll up his sleeves. Yeah. They're already rolled up.
I'm throwing hands.
All right. Well, while Tom threatens our host, we're going to be looking at Acend threatening to take us to a map 3. This is an elimination game, and Supermassive Blaze look like they're already out of this map at least. And the pistol, Acend going to be going in for a faster A play. Zeke getting a lot of distance. Supermassive Blaze have been pretty sick when it comes to pistol rounds, at least over on Acend. We'll see if the same awaits them here.
Well, not to find anything through the wall, at least at this moment. Need to be a little bit hopeful. There are 2 players coming in on the flank. Killers, if he goes down, there won't be as much afterpart on utility. He's done a lot of damage though, and other support can actually roll in to try and help him. He might not need it, but the kills come back thick and fast. Zeke and Starzo putting it back into a 2 versus 2, and all this time the spike has been ticking. They need to get moving, and on that flank, trying to split them apart, but Starzo is hitting absolutely everything. 3 kills for him in this round. It has been a resurgence after some of the previous performances we've seen from him.
And shout out Bone Cold there. Or sorry, Killaz actually it was, with the Kalat headshot up behind. I mean, he just lights them up, makes it so
Only
easy.
it was a sheriff.
If only it was, yeah, it could have been a clip, but then again, he might also have missed. So you gotta give him a little bit of space on that. The right clicks didn't land for him, otherwise it could have been a big play for him, but instead, Starzo is able to easily clean them up with a frenzy in hand. In the air, fist bumps are coming out as Acend hit double digits, now closing in on a map 3 to fight to stay alive in this tournament.
Yeah, this round at least. Supermassive players, you can almost not fault a lot of teams if they were to force in this scenario. So many rounds behind, give them an extra opportunity. But they want to make sure that they at least get themselves a purchase here. They're going to try to hunt down Starzo. They're going to have to switch over to the pistol. Seems to be the slightly more successful weapon.
Good night. Oh, it's too deep!
Did he go for a knife?
No. He got the kill on the Starzo with the right-click classic. He was just jumping
No,
around.
I mean, did Starzo go for it?
Oh, did Starzo? I mean, he was very low. I would be surprised, but then again, this is Acend, and this is Bind, so possibly.
Can we get that from his POV?
Yeah, maybe
I want to see if he was going for a knife. I think he might have been.
A little replay of that would be nice. But Acend, looking to close this one out without losing anybody else, realistically. The Supermassive players have already done quite a chunk of damage. Of course, poor at 38 HP running into a judge, and even with 150, you're probably not surviving that. So, Russ, no surprise, looking to just save this weapon over.
Yeah.
Oh, well, play exits, I suppose,
I think he's gonna
realistically.
die.
Yeah. Jump into Spike. I don't know what I'm talking about. Obviously, this is second round. Next round is a full buy for Supermassive Blaze, and you're not going to take the hit onto your economy.
Not for a Spectre.
For a Spectre, yeah. If it was a Vandal, hell
especially
yeah.
when you can afford a rifle and shields in the next round. To
Yeah,
go for a
if you
Spectre
survive.
and no shields would be a little bit weird, but we'll see. If he can make even an extra kill here, that would be nice, but Cena's going to put him in the dirt.
I mean, look, there was still a bonus to that. He took the shields off Cened, who had some to work with. Now he's going to have to invest. And sure, it's only going to be 400 credits, you know, a couple here or there, but at the same time, it's worth it. He did go for the knife.
He's going for the knife. I love Starzo so much. Like,
That is just
in
rough.
this moment, he's trying to go. He was very close as well.
Yes.
He was very close to just humiliating.
If he had full health, he
his
would have gotten the kill.
opponent.
Yeah, just the previous map, we saw that, I think. Like,
Yeah.
the mid-round calls were fantastic from Supermassive Blaze all the way through that previous map. And with the exception of a few big plays coming out of Zeke, as I said, it felt like a very flat map for Acend, but this is exactly what they needed. That little bit of a momentum builder to put them right back on the map. And now they're just 2 away from closing it out. This will be a bonus out of Acend, not one we expect them to win, but they've always been a team that can surprise us. Zeke, with a judge in hand, is looking to try and get a closer range fight. His teammates can't really come to help him just yet. So much Viper utility, keeping them locked out, and look at that, Brain down to 2 health. So close to being able to open it up, and in fact, they still do. Now the numbers are evened up, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried.
Yeah, they managed to pick up a rifle too. Okay, Killer's going for the 1 tap. He's not really going to get anything from it, and the spike is actually still waiting back through the teleporter. They're trying to bait people in on that rotation. I don't know if Russ is going to fall for it. I think he's realized that if they've not taken that control just yet, with Izzy already waiting, he doesn't want to take the risk and give up the A site completely. He's going to go on a long push through, and now that they've doubled up the defense, it might even bait that rotation, and Russ's position is a dirty one.
If Russ had have taken that TP up against a bonus round, I reckon we could have just kicked him from the roster right away. That would have been one of the most ludicrous decisions I've ever seen. And he immediately turned away, knew that he had to hold this position. So well played. Big brain from Russ. And even though he dies in the end, this is a round that was under heavy threat just a few seconds ago. And now they have to rely on Starzo pulling off a clutch. In fact, he's going aggressive to try and catch them off guard. Izzy's already taken down. 6 seconds left. Exact plans will be secured. Turco, the sky on the other side. It's the headshot to close this one out for Supermassive Blaze. A round that probably should have been a little bit more convincing, but if it wasn't for Russ in this situation, he had the opportunity to first of all throw away the round by going TP, which he ignored, and then had the perfect position to save the round.
Even still, it has been a night and day performance again for Starzo. Like, this is a round, as we always talk about, that if you're getting even 2 kills, that's a pretty good one. To get it 4 into a 1v1, and it took a ridiculous shot out of Turco for them to actually close that. So definitely maybe a little bit frustrated, but I don't think they're going to be mad about that round at all.
I'll tell you what, though, from Acend's perspective, obviously having those weak weapons and clutching it out would have been massive. But yeah, as you said, you're not going to be too stressed about this. You're going to sit down and say, hey, you know what, guys? Damn it, we should have won that. Let's get all depressed now. They've got rifles to work with here. This is the round that they'll look to take across the line. And it starts out so well. Izzy, a player who's really struggled so far, gets shut down right away. And Zeke is looking to take another fight, holding the angle and waiting for a player to come around the corner. Turco obliges. The kill doesn't go to either team. Zeke, though, going back out a little bit too greedy, and Turco will punish him this time.
Yeah, maybe rushing a little bit to try and close this map out. Could come back to bite them. We know that Supermassive Blaze with momentum are one of the most fearsome teams that we have in the tournament. They're going to start surrounding this B side. Rotation actually started to go back in the other direction, but with the flash giving away that there's a player here, I was expecting someone to go back, but in fact, no, it'll just be the 2 players to try and hold on to the site.
Looks like Acend rotating over in the TP, but that's only what it appears to be. The other 2 players are still inside hookah waiting to jump on out with the spike in hand. This is a dangerous play, a risky one indeed. And Bone Cold, he's not going to catch the kill. Sure, Killaz trades it back, but look at this, down on long. Tucked away is Turco, and he catches them off guard. 20 seconds to deal with them, a double TP to close the round. Well handled by Supermassive Blaze. They get baited out by a rotation through the teleporter, but they don't allow themselves to throw the round away just there. They maintain composure and find a 5th.
But that's one of those things that you look at the way that the round ended, and you might look at it and go, well, we could see the but actually the play that Acend made is a very good one.
Yes.
Like throwing in those players into the teleport, showing players on the other side of the map. It did bait the rotation eventually because there was no one left on long to actually almost convince the remaining players that they were still here. It was just that slight hesitation from Supermassive Blaze and a decent read on the scenario that actually wins them that round. Otherwise, it could have very easily fallen into the laps of Acend.
And now we come into a stage where you've only got pistols in the hands of Acend, but only pistols. I mean, what are you going to say? Only CNED? Realistically, this is still one that can swing their way. We've seen it before, and Supermassive Blaze need to be careful. Izzy coming close to getting the kill. Tags him up for Turco, and although Bone Cold finds one, there's still so much more to be done with that spike down. They have to fight for this control. Starzo popping his flashes endlessly. The TP comes through, and they just played that perfectly yet again. Really impressed by Supermassive Blaze in the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, we're gonna have 9 ultimates online for the next round as well. So it's not something you see too often in Valorant. Bone Cold getting a single kill was actually enough for him to guarantee his into the next round. So yeah, I think this is going to be a very difficult round to commentate, bitch.
Yeah, with Zeke just 2 away from a showstopper as well. I mean, I'm not looking forward to this one, I'll be honest. Things are potentially about to get very hectic indeed. Let's take a look as the round is about to kick off. Acend playing quite a slow one. To be honest, when you have these ultimates to play with, this is a sort of round where you can't really just run. Oh, that's really unfortunate. That's the more typical position for the Viper's pit to be put down from, but it's much deeper, so the orbital strike doesn't catch anybody. Pora able to play outside of it and then fight right back in. CNED basically on 1 HP. The push outside of Hookah did a little bit of damage. Bone Cold is through with 3. A resin, but Russ is undetected. They have no idea that he's on the site, but Bone Cold again shutting them down. Sure, CNED falls, but it's a 2 versus 1, and Bone Cold aces the round, 12-6, and what an incredible round it was from this Brimstone.
Match point.
The worst thing is it started off with the ultimate getting absolutely nothing, and he took that personally.
Yeah, he really wasn't happy. Oh, you want a deep Viper's pit? Yeah, sure. Where are you going to go now?
This is just ridiculous. He was surrounded by 3 players there, gets all 3 of them while spinning around on a dime, and then comes back through to ace it. What a round from Bone Cold. And we have spoken about him in this tournament so far, like having quieter performances, not quite being up to the standard we've seen from him, even as an in-game leader. That is the Bone Cold we love to see.
And look at the energy and the emotion on this team. The second that he aces that one out, he's got players coming over. Starzo's giving him fist bumps. Everyone's excited. Sure, they're very close to winning this map, and it wasn't under threat. That wasn't a clutch that brought them back into the game or anything, but it means so much to them. And they know that the more dominant this map is, the harder it will be for Supermassive Blaze to bounce back coming into the next.
Gonna see the ult popped fairly early in this round. Actually, you know what? Russ is going to find himself a kill. A freebie opener, and with some of the weaponry a bit weaker at the moment, I assume the reasoning is because Zeke actually has a showstopper.
Yeah.
Chance for him to open up. And, well, here he goes.
That almost looked like it was going to be a double damage done. Just 68 HP left on Brave. The nade comes dangerously close, and the spray down from him. He's trying to deal with the wall. Get it out of play so they can spam on through, but that just opens up the room for Starzo to get into position and grab himself the kill. 3 versus 3. No orbital strike to play with here. Izzy spotted coming up behind. He's getting the kill on Zeke, but Bone Cold somehow manages to trade it back. Tough kill for him now. The Bone Cold acing the previous, and he's got to come up with another massive clutch. This time around, it won't happen. That timer's pretty low, but I think he still got it. Yeah, it's still comfortable enough.
Yeah, he's going to take a little bit of damage from it, but that was never in question. He had loads of time to get that defused. I like the fact that he did have the molly ready. If he gets that kill, then there's a completely different scenario where the molly lands, he can bait out the time, and it really could have gone incredibly wrong. Nice shot.
Wow, that was...
He's crisp today, but this was Russ's round. Huge start to it, pulling out the Hunter's Fury, and then just locks it down on this retake as well. As I said, that kill was everything. If he loses that battle, I think the map's over.
I agree with you 100%. Now we come up to this 5 rounds in a row needed for Supermassive Blaze. And remember, this is the map choice of Acend. What that means is Supermassive Blaze, as we said earlier, decided to start on the attack, and they got basically nothing done. And now, even despite the pistol not going their way, they are clocking up rounds. They are starting to look like there's a breath of life back into their game. Izzy is a really nasty angle right now. I mean, I don't see any way that you even pre-fire this as they come around, and he can dash out of there for free. This is somewhere that Zeke needs to make a blast pack play through. If he just runs, he's dead 9 times out of 10. Oh, Russ might be as well.
No.
Great utility usage. Izzy, not good for the kill, and Zeke takes him down. That's like an up retrieve. Starzo's eliminated Turco. The B side is theirs, and Acend have a 5 versus 2 to look to close this one out, to stay alive in this tournament in Masters 3 and bring us all the way to the deciding map.
Can't end it with a thrifty. You just can't end it with a thrifty. It's only left on to Brave, the youngster, to try and give them something in this round. It was a beautiful execute. But this is not the way that SMB wanted to fall out of this map. Very little chance for him here, and he's going to have to try and run away. Acend will take it 13-7, just as... Yeah, for sure. Like, it is devastating to be the EMEA casters being there to eliminate one of the EMEA teams.
Send our boys home.
It's not something we're going to enjoy, but hopefully it's at least a good farewell, I guess, with a strong map to finish. As I said, it's a surprise pick to see this come through for Acend, but it's also a big change in compositions. They've played a lot before with even Astra coming in onto Zeke, so to see him back on his raise after the performance in the last map is something that excites me quite a bit.
Well, those shields from Starzo that he invested into didn't exactly do him a lot of favors. He gets tagged up on the crossover, and the Trailblazer doing damage as well. Acend giving up control over what was to be a nasty little setup. They had their camera watching middle and 2 players prepared to just completely crunch in from ropes. Instead, that control is completely given over to Supermassive Blaze. It has cost them a little bit of time, but they have plenty still to play with. Was that a spray that he's put down that got a few shots out of them? See, this is the stuff I love seeing, man. Like, they put a spray down, they get in, guy shoots, you're like, oh, there's one in vents.
Bone Cold. Given an opportunity, but he's going to have to fall out. Play retake with the rest of the squad. He's still got his paranoia available, a piece of utility that can clear out the back corner if they try and streak back into the site. The rest of the players are looking to try and challenge through the ice wall, breaking it with Russ on the other side. He's going to get a 1-for-1 trade, but that control is worth it.
Tough retake in play. Izzy out there fighting alongside Turco. He gets dropped in the open. CNED is just hitting shot after shot, and Bone Cold is an absolute animal when it comes to these pistol rounds. Porritt can't even get out of the smoke before CNED shuts him down, and that is going to be the round for Acend.
Yeah, a solid retake as well. Reclaiming a lot of control, winning a lot of the battles, and more importantly, just sectioning off the jewels so that they couldn't basically be isolated. No real opportunity for the remaining players to fall back either. And more importantly, this man's on form. Now, as I said, we've seen some changes on the side of Acend. I think last time CNED was playing a Reyna. Now he's back to his classic Jet. Starzo as well was actually on a Raze in this previously. So this looks like something I would say that has actually been worked on more so for Acend rather than what could have been maybe a few random attempts when it was in matches that definitely didn't have as much pressure as this one.
Yeah. We don't want to make those excuses that, oh, well, they weren't trying or whatever, but the reality is, there definitely wasn't the kind of pressure on them that they have right here, and the weight of this series and of this map indeed. Gonna get control again over Vent Room, looking to dive down onto Zeke, holding with a Spectre in hand. He'll tickle them up, but he's in a bit of trouble as they rush him down. The Boombot falls below, and he is just trying to create a little bit of distance between him and the entirety of Supermassive Blaze. The force buy from the attacker's side hasn't seen or yielded the results that they would have hoped with, and they've given up all control on the map. The one thing is they have a trap wire outside of A, so they know nobody's pushed up there.
Yeah, they need to make something of this round as well. CNED investing into the rifle, a chance to farm up the Blade Storm, and then when they get their first proper buy, it will almost definitely be online if they aren't able to take this one home. And for now, at least, there's a good chance to overwhelm him. He still has his dash online, so he can take an initial kill. He's actually going to go in for 2, and in fact, he's just decided to continue fighting. Some would say this looked like an eco, but that was a full investment from Supermassive Blaze.
That was a force buy out of the attacker side, and Acend have found it easily. CNED
600 ACS.
Ridiculous stats right now. 600 ACS, 7-0. And you know what? He was good for the ace. He's like, hey, I've got my ult now. Don't, guys, I'm ulted up. Yep, you get the kill. There you go, Starzo. Thanks, buddy. What a nice guy. Selfless, but also putting up figures. I don't think I've ever seen 600 ACS.
I guess there probably has been. We're just not really paying attention to the scoreboard this early in the game. Of course, if he keeps it up, then it will be a record, guaranteed.
PC.
Yeah, definitely. It's also funny that you see everybody on the team just going mental and seeing it like, yeah, cool. Like,
I got some kills.
Have you not watched me play before? Like, do you know who I am?
You imagine how exhausting it would be if he got that excited every time he got a 4K. Here he goes, diving down onto them, but CNED not going to get away with it this time.
Don't need to check him PC at all.
No, we certainly don't. Bone Cold's down as well, so this is a really tough round for Acend. They've won up against the force buy in the previous, but now just pistols are getting the better of them. Stampeding down the ramp, they've been heard, and these players are turning to watch them. Izzy taking first contact. Zeke is in trouble. And I don't even know if they go for this. With a Phantom on Zeke, with a Spectre in Killes' hands, you might just want to save this over. Killes try to get as much damage as he can because it's unlikely this round goes their way at this point.
Finding that kill from behind might just change their mind, an opportunity to potentially pick them apart, but both will be dropped. A surprise victory for Supermassive Blaze gives them a huge boost onto the board. And now we look at things from the other side as well, because this started off, as you said, with a rifle, with a few bonus weapons here and there, but how much cash do they still have in the bank?
I felt bad for Porritt there. He was really lost, and then when CNED's up above him, but he still gets away with that kill, and it's a rarity. And he asked how much cash have they got left to work with. And
not bad.
It's not bad. It could definitely be better, and in fact, they could invest more if they wanted to, actually trying to keep up a little bit of extra moolah for the upcoming rounds. I think, realistically, on Acend's side, though, like, this is almost another bonus, the way that it's playing out.
CNED looking to battle and brawl. They've got themselves a shotgun invested into this round as well. Of course, the cash on Supermassive Blaze is not bad at all because they managed to steal away a lot of weapons when they were already saving that extra cash up. Zeke, see, I hate that this is an angle that he can realistically take, like, especially with the Phantom. Like, he is spraying, and it's still fine.
Now they've got CNET here to break the wall and almost get a kill out of it. Great flash up. Russ goes down, but they're returning. They know that Zeke is below, but it doesn't matter. Good for 3, knowing exactly where Pora is as well. The nade is primed and ready. There's the swing from Killaz to close it out. Absolutely gorgeous recovery out of Acend. But as I said, that was almost like a bonus round from Supermassive Blaze. They kept 3 players with plenty of cash. They had 2 Spectres to work with as well. Overall, that's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Follow up on that third. But yeah, like I said, Supermassive Blaze aren't down and out just yet, but that's certainly a disappointing round for them.
Yeah, in terms of ults as well, they've got the Seekers, so they might be able to make a play off of it. I also think that Pora having a pistol, it's really not that much of a detriment. Like, he has been called a beast many times with that gun in hand, so I think they'll be okay.
That he has, Tom. That he has. That's funny, Tom. I don't get the joke. I don't. You know what?
Me neither.
Good. Good. Right answer. 3-1. Ascend. On the defensive side, give up a lot of control yet again. This time, there's actually an open avenue for the attackers to just go through vents, but obviously that's where Cypher comes into play. Being able to solo hold this entire side of the map, essentially half of it by himself, but they send CNET here to reinforce. And in fact, Starzo's rotating over as well. I mean, as this wall breaks, he'll have to go back, surely, unless Zeke just something absolutely ludicrous. Just like that, out he goes, and back he goes, getting healed up on his way. And now they're coming right up towards B, but the showstopper's online, and he goes himself. He's taking himself down. I swear, I saw Pora die in my eyes. It happened, but somehow it was Zeke falling to the floor. That is not quite how you want the showstopper to go, reminiscent of some of the earlier games in the group stage.
Seems like Subrosa made it here after all. You know?
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And he's not awake yet. It's okay. You got another hour to make those jokes. This is going to be a clean round, though, in the end for Ascend. Surely Turco has to clutch it out, but they talked about him as the clutch player. What was that out of Bone Cold? Why was he shrouded stepping onto the side? Turco, 1v3, and now it's only Killaz who stands in his way. The spike plant comes into play, and with that, Rez is online, but he can't get over to them to bring anyone back to life. He'll have to handle this one all by himself, but Killaz has given away his position, and Turco gets away with all 3. A ridiculous Red Bull clutch. Supermassive Blaze are right back on the board.
They're going to be kicking themselves. I don't think Zeke killing himself really makes that much of a difference. I don't think that's the point
anyway, so like,
really get frustrated about. It's more just the reposition of Bone Cold that ends up just being caught. It's maybe a little bit unnecessary, but of course, production straight on the. Oh, a multiple angle.
Let's get another one, yeah.
Multiple. We needed that for a multiple angle.
I don't know if it makes that little of a difference though, because okay, they got Pora in the end, but I'm pretty sure that would have killed Turco, who then clutched the round out. Like, it's a small thing, and it's an easy mistake to make. He was low HP, he was healing up, he wanted to just get that one out. Moment of panic. These mistakes do happen, where the texture's so close to him. But the ripples are definitely felt. As we move on into this one, Supermassive Blaze up against Pistols, and they will be immensely cautious not to just run in. On a map like Split, you can have all manner of close-range weapons, including a shorty that Zeke is currently using.
Especially considering that, again, there's a few ults not far away from the side of Ascend. A couple of kills here could make a fairly big difference. I will say with Turco having the res, I feel fairly confident in them here. It's like, just if it gets out of control, they have Seekers, they have res. Like, they're being very careful in a round like this. I would be surprised if they continue to push the shorty, especially at that angle. It seems a little bit silly to go in that direction, so they quickly swing back around. Zeke has actually found another, but there is the res, so it does cost them quite a bit in this round, even though for now they've got 4 players standing.
30 seconds left.
Can Ascend do any more damage?
For Izzy, I think he just wants to get a kill, though. Like, this is going to be Showstopper online if he finds this frag. And there it is. Showstopper's on. Now hopefully lets the teammate take the next kill. No, he's stealing that one away, but fair enough. 3-3. We're tied up, and the one kill out of it isn't great, but the fact that it was obviously the res that brought another one back online certainly helps Acend out in shaking that one off a little bit.
Yeah, it's still like, yeah, when you're on a Acend side in this scenario, you're going, okay, they've invested a couple of ults here to win themselves around, so I don't think it's that much of an issue for Acend, and now they have a purchase. And more importantly, they've got CNED on the operator, which it turns this from a dangerous defensive half to a terrifying one.
Yeah, most definitely. Defensive side operator on CNED, I do not want to mess with that. And that's why I like SuperMassive Blaze putting down this Astra Star right away inside of B main. That sort of stops him from going for the aggression that I think he was going to go for. He was going to run into B main and try to take a pick. But I say it stops him. It delays him. He's going to go for it eventually with 20 seconds into the round, starts to really step forward and gain a more aggressive angle. And that allows them, again, with the Cypher setup we already spoke about towards the A side, it allows them to have this much more mid-focused defense towards the start of the round, denying that control. And what's really interesting is Acend instantly make the read of, okay, we've put up enough resistance, we've pushed these guys back, now let's give up mid, because, I mean, you don't want to be holding that while they push a site, and they've rotated around to reinforce the wings. This is really smart play on the defensive side.
Bone Cold taking that position. You've got the cam to spot them as they walk through with the cages to try and slow them down as much as humanly possible. Are they going to be able to do anything? No. Poor, in fact, winning the duel, and Izzy using the Showstopper to make sure the site is in their hands. Sure, it's a trade here and there, but ultimately, it's a solid take for SMB.
I have to say, that was terrifying, the doubled up audio of that fire in the hole. Not much to be found here. Acend need to fight their way back in with some big kills. And Zeke's the point man. Brave already down. Cosmic Divide. Zeke sort of bought them the space to jump out of that. And yeah, Starzo's going to do just that. Getting into the corner. CNED with a quick kill. And now, all of a sudden, Acend seem to be favored. Turco having to clutch out another 1v3. And although he'll get the first, they are too quick trading it out. Acend back on the board, keeping the lead in their favor.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised almost how easily Acend actually get back into that. Like, I don't think that SuperMassive Blaze had as much control as they probably would have liked. Like, especially when you're in an A site after plant, you want some of the extremities. Like, you don't want to be all hunkered down into the site because some of these crossfires can be a little bit horrible. I also think it's another one of those scenarios where the Cosmic Divide actually helped the retake.
That's a nice hoodie.
Where's mine? I've seen so many people wearing these. I want one.
Nat's just got his. I saw the tweet go out. You know, we gotta make a journey over to Split. We gotta get the train. Get the train down there. It's a nice little store. You know what's gonna happen eventually. It's gonna be that little store somewhere. I hope so. You know, the little cafes. Well, speaking of Crown Coffee, we're over here towards the A site. You can see that SuperMassive Blaze, again, wanted to fight for that control. They wanted to pressure in, but they are pushed out immediately and making a very quick rotate. This is where they're kind of testing things out, seeing if Acend are the kind of team that will over-rotate on this map. Remember, this is a very new scenario to play Acend on Split. You don't get to see it too often, and when you have, you don't know that that's how they're going to play because of the gravity of the situations they were in. As they move towards the B site, though, they're going to find out pretty quickly that Acend don't over-rotate. In fact, they make good reads. Stack up exactly where you're going.
That one-way timing was so perfect. The problem is the weaponry that's currently there for Bone Cold is not really going to be ideal. Now, he's got his Paranoia prepped. Starzo also going to be sat at the back of the site, and they can just continue to delay as much as humanly possible. In fact, it's actually going to force SuperMassive Blaze to go back for another rotation.
Yeah, they've realized that if they push through this choke point, they're just going to get paranoid and taken down. Instead, they're going to try to split up through mid, where CNED is holding the blast pack, actually pushes his teammate out of the way. CNED re-peeks and gets dropped by Izzy. Bone Cold, sure, they'll eliminate Pora, but now they're trapped both behind the site. Starzo gone undetected for a moment, but he's in the nade. He's gone, he's dead, out of the round, but it's kept even. 2 versus 2. The spike needs to be planted. It's been retrieved, and it's on its way to site, but the time time doesn't even matter because Russ mows them down and puts it up there for SuperMassive Blaze. Great adaptation. They play for A, they realize they can't push it, they move back to B, they poke, they prod, they figure out how are they holding this, and then they make the right read and how to deal with that defense. That was beautiful, Valorant.
I think the entries as well. Like, this from Izzy was everything. If CNED even gets a kill, slows them down a little bit, it could have all gone wrong, and then you just have Russ not missing a single beat on those last couple of kills. A big round for SuperMassive Blaze, and we have to now start to talk about the fact that they are on that attacking side. Like, already keeping things fairly even, a chance to get themselves up to 5 rounds already. They're in a very good spot.
No doubt about it. SuperMassive Blaze on the attack side, again, where they've wanted to start every single time. They feel comfortable setting the pace, and you can see exactly why. Their read here on Split so far has been perfect. And it's rare that I find so little issue with things that teams are doing, but I have absolutely loved seeing those thought processes unfold, and you can see the logic is there every step of the way. They're gathering the information, and in this round, that's going to be very important, because as we've talked about before, you don't want to run blindly into pistols. And even though Izzy held that angle, that was a great play. CNED is just too quick.
Yeah, although this round doesn't have much in terms of weaponry, shields.
Nice.
Does have a couple of ultimates, so they're going to get the information. This is where they can actually just set CNED up to try and find an opener or two.
Rifle.
Not going to spot anything, and as you said, yeah, a weapon picked up to give them something into this round. The slow is even going to delay them that little bit further. The time is getting low, Mitch, and there's now 4 players on B.
No paranoia for Bone Cold this time around, so it's going to be a little tougher to hold on to the side as they push on out. The Squid's revealing that there's plenty of players here. I sort of like this from SuperMassive Blaze, though. They slow it down and hope they get peeked into, but unfortunately it's the Vandal that takes the fight. Then it's CNED's Blade Storm from up above that shuts Russ down, and with 10 seconds left, they might even be thinking about a save if Acend allow them to do that. The Blade Storm still looking to take some victims. Bone Cold shuts one, and Brave is trapped in a corner. The nade is on him. All the weapons removed, and what a fantastic eco from Acend. This is really a battle of wits. I am enjoying every step of the way.
Yeah, a huge battle back. Of course, CNED managing to fight. Like, this was just so quick. Izzy missing a single bullet, and that's all it takes. One opportunity, and then they have these little bait and switch plays with elevated angles. That was perfect from Acend. And all it took was a couple of ultimates to basically give them a round. Now, it's the complete reverse. And unfortunately for SuperMassive Blaze, they don't have anything like that. They don't have a Blade Storm available. They're not far away from a showstopper, but they will basically have to hit some ridiculous sheriff shots if they're going to have themselves a chance here.
Yeah, it's much harder to make work on the attacking side, I'll tell you that. When you're on the defense, as we said, all these nasty little angles, just look at how they approached the previous round. And the difference between Ascend's position when they had pistols and SuperMassive Blaze is they have to fight for the mid control. They have to fight on range. No matter where they go, B main, mid, A, you are going to have to peek into an angle where that rifle is far, far away from you. Whereas on the attack, you don't have that luxury when you're versus a low buy. Poor old Russ. He got one kill onto Bone Cold, but now it's stalled out. And this is just going to be a waiting game. And I'll say this, Russ has got some serious patience.
Yeah, he's been on point so far this map. Some huge individual plays and any cost they can create. Bear in mind that there were a couple of free weapons given over in the last round as well, and his ultimate is also one of the cheapest to farm up, but they had the cross held. Not going to be anything here. Acend, after what was looking like, as I said, a fairly shaky half, an opportunity for SuperMassive Blaze to basically win it out over the last couple of rounds, has now slipped to a point where Acend are not in a bad position, but I will say that I almost feel like they need at least 7, maybe even 8 rounds if they're going to do it on the attack, because I think a lot of teams, especially ones that don't play this map, normally struggle on that side.
And often, you know, we will look at that pistol round and say, you know, they got that. When it comes to buy rounds, it's been a fairly even game, fairly neck and neck, and especially considering SuperMassive Blaze forced round 2 and then managed to win with pistols in their hand. It was a bizarre situation for sure. And the Acend are definitely not going to be happy ending it at 6. They need to push up a little bit further moving into the next half. CNED, the jet confidence that this man has to just keep getting in their face. They'll pop the res, but that's so worthwhile for CNED. Now they have the information as well, the camera spotting them up above, and there's still a heavy stack on this site. They know that Izzy is coming up close, but even despite that, he manages to get a double. The old pop just to buy the space, to make sure there's no trade, and to ensure that the plant could go in.
See,
Spike planted.
neural theft giving things away. An opening needed. While Zeke is already going to pick one off, this gives them the chance to potentially get the res, and now he's going to throw out his showstopper, force them back at least for the moment, try and bait someone in, but won't find anything from it. No one yet to be brought back as well, with both players dying within the site. The nade again, going to clear some of those closer angles. Turco holding, Izzy with another, and the Boombot takes one down. It's left all onto Acend, and he's not that quick.
Another round where I feel like Supermassive Blaze played that so well. They prioritized the duels down on the site, and what that does for them in not pursuing CNET and not pursuing any sort of mark.
Watch this. Unbelievable.
There's just no way Bone Cold could have reacted to that. I mean, you think your teammate has.
He then goes all the way back round and comes behind them. This was Izzy's round.
Oh, it definitely was. And you know, one of the things I want to point out is the fact that, you know, sure, the res was online and has been many, many times. But once again, we are seeing Supermassive Blaze being so proactive in controlling the bodies of their opponents that Starzo just can't get that res off. It's been online practically the whole game yet again, and there's just never a chance to bring someone back to life.
Well, we're going to see the Boombots pass in the wind. Info for Bone Cold, but the spam through gives his position away. Starzo will be there, but again, unfortunately, his teammates died on the other side of the wall, so they can't even do anything to bring him back from the fray. Now, they do still have the cross held. Now, I've seen Zeke do this already. It didn't work. So I'm curious if this is something that he's practiced, just holding onto those ropes with one hand, or maybe in another way.
CNED down right away, and this is the ideal scenario for Supermassive Blaze. What that means is they can now focus on B where they know that Starzo is. So if they went A, that res could be found in mid. Instead, Starzo's going to have to wrap all the way around, give up site control, and allow the plant to come through. They knew that that kind of aggression, sure, it gets your player back online, but it gives them guaranteed site control, and that's ultimately what they're after. At this point, a retake for Acend, it's essential that they get this online.
Well, of course, again, it will be the last round of the half, whereas Rez is going to be coming through. An opportunity, at least, for them to bring something back. They catch the wraparound this time as well. And again, we're going to see that Cosmic Divide. The jump through from Zeke looks to clear the back angle, but does he expect a second player to be there? The answer is no. Supermassive Blaze bring it back to a 6-6 scoreline, and it is anyone's game going into the second half.
This really has just been beautiful Valorant from both teams. I feel like Acend on that defensive side have been read a couple of times. Supermassive Blaze avoiding a whole lot of danger zones. It's got a smile on my face the whole way through, but you know what? As much as I would love to dive into the next half right away, players need a little bit of a breather, and so do we. Let's throw things over to the desk and see what they've got to say. I mean, Tom, based on what we're seeing so far, I'm putting you on the spot right here, man. Who's taking it? Who's favored?
I am leaning very slightly towards Supermassive Blaze.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that. And I think, considering the pistol went Ascend's way, you know, we could be looking at a very dominant half out of Supermassive Blaze. You really need to see on the attack, exactly. The thing is, though, that is their preferred side to start on from what we're seeing. They love to get on the attack. I'm not sure if that's the case on Split, though. It's the only thing, because I mean, Split's a really tough map to play the attack on if your opponents do start to lock you out. But considering the reads that they had and the adaptations, the limit testing that they played up against Acend so far, I don't know, man. This is maybe one of the better attack teams we have in EMEA.
I'll have to see how it'll all unfold. Brave already within the cage. This could be a bit of a nasty surprise. He's going to go through, and that's CNET down already. He's going to be able to escape. A nasty surprise for Killers, as well as no trade is found onto his teammate. And now they're going to start to pressure onto that A site.
Yeah, the panic nade goes out. Really just worried about getting pressured down. Rotate through, but Zeke is up on top. They suspect it! And Pora's holding as he gets on through the smoke. A couple of players tagged up here. Things start to get a bit scary. I don't want to see Starzo fighting this on 20 HP. But now he's flashed up. Hasn't really got a choice. Killaz, though, providing the support from afar. And Pora's low. This is starting to get a little bit more competitive than I thought it was going to be. Brave, again on the flank play, though. Comes up from behind and gets an easy triple. I mean, I see why they call this guy Brave. The plays he's making are, well, you can guess.
No, go on. Go on, please.
Insane.
A huge round from him. And he's had plenty of them within this tournament. Again, another youngster coming through under the brand of Supermassive Blaze. Another Turkish superstar that I think many are going to fear at this point. And more importantly, as you mentioned, giving them that pistol on the defensive side. It's not going to be the same sort of force from Acend. Just a few pistols invested into. Although we have seen some rounds like this slip away, they don't have any ultimates this time.
I mean, it was the exact round that Supermassive Blaze won, right? Where they had pistols in play. They force bought round 2, lost that, and then won with pistols. This is definitely somewhere that they are going to be quite cautious of. Brave spraying away, baiting out that he was going to run and reload, and Starzo thought he had god-tier timing, but Brave knew exactly what he was doing. He was steps ahead.
Yeah, again, this is a round where we definitely can't expect much, but Acend will want to at least try and take something down, and there's a chance maybe they can shut down Turco. He will be able to heal himself back up, so it's not the end of the world, and Russ, I imagine, will be able to just line them up. Quick couple of kills and give an 8-6 scoreline, but this is where we need to see the best from Acend. Now, they've always been a team that, especially on a lot of maps, have been very good on that attacking side. It's not like it's one of their vulnerabilities. The difference is, do they have that ability on Split?
That is the question, right? This is untested ground. This is their insta-ban on a map that maybe they've just been waiting for the right time to show exactly what they've got on it, and well, there's no better time than now. Their last chance in Masters 3. For now, Supermassive Blaze are stepping close to that map victory. 8-6. They come in on... I mean, sure, it's a bonus, but considering the weapons that they have, Russ and Izzy both having rifles, this is an incredibly strong buy with plenty of potential. Pora has actually spotted Zeke up close, and he goes out for more to allow Russ to trade. This is so well played by Supermassive Blaze. Acend are in absolute shambles until Starzo and Bone Cold step it up.
Yeah, they've got the wall to at least give them a little bit of space around the site. Although it's a headshot angle for Izzy, and it's not something you want to give over to this man. We're going to see the TP to the back of site. Bone Cold at least able to take a tiny bit of space, but this duel seems to be everything, and that's almost ignoring the fact that Brave has still got the closer angle around the spawn. He's also got his stars placed to try and stun up the planter, although he isn't going to be able to push off it, at least for the moment. This 2v2 will continue for now as Izzy looks to try and wrap around, not knowing if there's still somebody within the smoke.
That's a great backside smoke. Starzo eliminates Brave. Izzy has to make the play happen, and he won't get anything done. They lined up. I was a little bit scared, but it was a firing squad. One on their knees, one standing up, and an easy kill. 8-7. Acend bounced right back in that one, but again, that was a bonus round. That was weaker weapons in play. I'm not that concerned when it comes to defensive side split bonuses. You can still lose a lot of weapons to that purely because, as we saw from Pora, a Spectre can sometimes be just as valuable as a Phantom if you've got the good positioning and utility usage to work with it on this map.
Yeah, I'm almost happy to see that the guys from Acend are able to recover in that scenario, because it definitely looked a little bit dangerous, but Starzo stepping up always makes things a little bit more exciting in the match. For now, though, again, we have some weaknesses on either side. Izzy, in fact, going to be left with no shields and a shotgun, and Zeke is just blast packing his way through. Brave doesn't even know he's here. Russ still finding the trade, but Zeke again with a double opener. These fast-paced attacks onto the B site are catching Supermassive Blaze off guard, and for now at least, they can't deal with them.
I don't blame them, because it's so difficult to actually create that kind of space on a map like Split, which is so centered around choke points. Zeke's been spotted down below. The nades traded back and forth, but that buys time for the attackers, and the clock is definitely in their favor. Zeke needs to make a move. He's trapped in a corner right now, and instead of him moving out, it's his teammates coming to help. Pora with a quick kill has been spotted up close. Starzo's waiting for him to take a step back. Good kill for one, and Pora will be dealt with right after. Good trades by Acend. They keep it over in their favor. 8-8 we go, tying things up after a pistol loss. Supermassive Blaze been caught up on.
Yeah, they're going to be in the bin here as well. Financially, that's where they have to almost tap out a little bit. Again, Russ still getting his ultimate online. It could do something if they manage to find a kill or two to try and give them some extra pieces of information. Again, though, I just think that, firstly, you've got these two aggressive players in the form of Zeke and Cena just taking so much space in these entries that a lot of the time, it seems to be a lot of confusion for whoever's trying to defend B, especially. But then you've also just got the trading, and I think that's something we've always been excited about when it comes to Acend. Like the way that they play off of each other, even with players coming from so many different countries, different languages, communication, we always questioned if that was going to be an issue. And then you see the last couple of rounds, the sort of crouch peek alongside the other player peeking, perfectly lined up, and then the initial and then Acend's peak in the last round. It is so perfectly timed from Acend that the player who is in that clutch scenario for SMB has absolutely no chance.
Yeah, that's the fun part about this series. You know, sometimes you have ones that go the distance and it's sloppy. It's because of mistakes made on both sides. And this really does not feel like we've had a sloppy round since map 1, where Acend were definitely not activated. Pora, a little bit of trouble there. It's tagged up massively, and that would be huge control lost if he goes down, but it wouldn't matter because it's a full push into the A site. Stack up all around, though. SuperMassive Blaze have practically their full team. Only a couple of kills, a handful that go their way. Izzy has no chance with the Classic. That's going to be 9 for the attackers.
Yeah, again, not an awful round. I do find that I'm loving just watching Zeke just blast pack around the map, and he's been incredibly good so far. 17 and 12, 18 and 10 for Cena. These are the 2 players that we expect to see performing for this squad, and on 9 to 8, this is where we have to see a comeback.
I have to say, I actually prefer Raze on this map to Jet when it comes to space making. Like, it's just so much more versatile in terms of the angles you can go for, and a lot of trouble.
He is misclicked. Sure. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Oh, you're going to restart Agent Select. Like, oh, never mind. Cancel this one. Go again. or that one. Cena, though, here's the value that he brings to the table. Aside from space making, has his ulti to play with here, so he doesn't even need to buy a rifle.
Yeah, operator for Izzy. It's going to be a fast take, giving them that extra elevation, and this double duo on the entry. He's not going to kill off Brave. The trade, though, again, it's just perfect. Zeke finding a double kill. The remaining players having to try and rotate in, and at this stage, they're going to try and use those Seekers to at least find themselves something here, because they need a way back into this round.
They absolutely do, and they've caught Bone Cold reloading right onto CNET afterwards. Zeke, it's nothing done on backside. Russ is tearing them apart, and now it's all up to Killaz. He has to swing in and find a double kill. The first goes his way. He knows they're not defusing, and now, being pushed on. He'll still connect. Great play by Killaz. A Red Bull clutch, and Acend get away with murder. This is probably one of the examples of a round where your Jet's going to be that little bit more useful than a Raze, because when you've got the Blade Storm online, your versatility is certainly amped up.
You say that. 3 of the kills come through from Zeke.
True.
I think it's also just like Russ. The retake was so good from him. 3 kills, catching players off guard, finding himself a multi-frag, and then this man just ruins his day. And these are the moments that can decide the match. 10 to 8, again, we're going to have a weaker purchase. Russ, the amount of credits he's been earning from finding all of those kills actually gives him the chance to have a hero rifle. Other than that, not much online right now, but 2 ultimates very close to hand.
I doubt that we'll see Turco. Even if he gets it online, it's a kind of tough position to try and use it in. But the Showstopper, on the other hand, much more viable. They're not going to play for early ult orb control onto either of those players, though. Instead, it's going to be the contact that they look to take. And with Brave falling, this is where Izzy gets close. If he finds a kill, this could spiral out of control so quickly. The Showstopper now online. He doesn't know if there's players just around the corner, though. He has now spotted them. The nade to keep them back. He's going to hold on to this for a little bit later on. Now that they've spotted out a player up close, and he knows there's one in heaven, the Showstopper comes through, and there's only 2 players left on Acend. This was another round where SuperMassive Blaze came in with pistols, and it could be another that Acend lose to a Thrifty. Surely not. Bone Cold up in heaven shuts down Poor, and now it's just the 2 up close. And look, the position of Turco was spotted, but they had no idea about Russ up close. He actually went for it in the open. Why would he do that? 9 rounds on the board for SuperMassive Blaze, an absolute travesty. Acend, we're about to set up a 1v1 with that TP play, but Bone Cold took a little too long shopping for a destination. Oh, that has made me feel things I didn't know possible. Look at the timing on this.
I can't believe that's just happened. I can't believe that's just happened. Turco standing up as well. Like, what have I just witnessed? That is a mistake again. That could be haunting for Acend. It'll be one that we may watch back for, well, weeks, months, make it years.
I'll tell you what, Bone Cold's going to be messaging some mods. Can you delete the mod, please?
Delete it.
Nope.
I want it
clips
deleted.
Off. Turn clips off.
Yeah.
That's you're going to be kicking yourself. Honestly, the fact that a pause hasn't been called right now is insane to me. Like, after that kind of a mistake, not stepping one step to the right, and you just go straight back in. Maybe that's a sign of the mental fortitude in play for Acend, but Bone Cold has been taken down right away, and not in normal fashion. He's spread out, he's trying to fight the wings by himself. I'll be honest, I see that as a mistake that they didn't take a breather.
See what they can get done here. Seeker's already back online from Russ. We'll give a lot of information here. Supermassive Blaze know that this is such an important round for them. They can't afford to let this one slip away. And again, there is a res currently available if the opportunity is there for either side. Izzy not going to connect this shot. And actually, we're going to see the blast pack through. That could be a huge upgrade, but Zeke is actually just going to sit in the corner. An afterplant already guaranteed. Rifles being picked up as well. There is a chance that Acend just break this straight back.
They may well do. Said it was potentially a mistake, but it looks like they're really recovering on this one. Pora can't get anything done. CNED supporting from afar, and Zeke tickling him up. Turco. Russ, the last two players left alive for Supermassive Blaze, and they're trying to find an opportunity, trying to catch a window, an opening to get in here, and the shots are not connecting. Time is too low. At this point, I'm walking right into a judge is never the way to go. This is the round done. The question is, does Russ get out with the rifle? The answer is no. He's about to be shot in the back.
11-9. That, again, an opening kill, weaker weaponry. Acend, we sort of talk about it. Was that the mental break after losing a round in that fashion?
I had a mental break.
The answer is no. And I have to say, I am loving every map I get to see Zeke play on Raze. Like, it's been some of the most enjoyable gameplay we've seen. He seems to just... I think this is almost like his best agent of what we've seen from anything. Even if you go to, like, Reyna, anything of the sort, I think he's so good playing this Raze. And, well, now we get another kind of weird purchase. But at this point, don't know what to expect.
Who are we to predict what's going to happen in this one? I mean, with how things have been going, I'm questioning my knowledge of this game as he has gone undetected towards the backside. But he's dealt with eventually. Most frustrating thing, when four guys walk past you and the fifth one goes, anyone check the corner? You're like, come on, man. Leave me alone. Could have been a huge play, but luckily they dealt with it. And Acend pushing up to 12, unless Pora has some sort of cheats installed.
You know. Sometimes he hits some pretty ridiculous shots, which I can't understand. Now, if he was to win this round, I would also say that Acend have lost their minds. So it's a prime gaming flawless, 12-9. A map that is normally the perma-ban of Acend. They let it through in this series to challenge versus one of their biggest rivals. We've seen tweets today like, here we go again. We're facing off against our opponents. It's the King of Turkey facing off against the Turkish roster. And they are one round away from eliminating Supermassive Blaze. They need 3 in a row to survive in Berlin.
Big pressure on this Turkish squad, and we have seen what they can do, man. The Valorant they've been playing is beautiful, but they're up against Acend, and Acend are fired up, and they to the backside. Pora gonna run straight on through it, actually, getting to elbow. He's now in safety. His mate's rotating in. I thought he was going into spawn. He just goes straight out of the open and gets a triple kill. How has he gotten away with that? Still on the site. CNED will deal with him. 2 versus 2. Low HP for CNED. Rez comes in. Bone Cold somehow connects, and this is looking oddly dangerous. I thought it was a guaranteed round for Supermassive Blaze at a point, but now a plant can be found. Up in heaven, Izzy wants to creep forward and catch him, and that he has done. CNED needs a godlike clutch to close this one out, or they will be running it back again.
It's not going to be happening this time. Pora talk about leading by example. That is a peak, which I was thinking is I'm going to use the phrase stupid. That was so aggressive. I was like, there is absolutely no way he gets away with anything, and then snaps back to get 2 kills. That's a round that they desperately needed, and he has just won it for them.
Absolutely. Without Pora, and honestly, if he goes back to spawn, their chances of winning go down greatly because they're playing a retake into like giving the space for Acend to set up, and they couldn't even get a spike plant. At the point where they plant the spike and had a setup, the odds swing massively in the attacker's favor. But now, thanks to Pora, they can go again. They can look for 11, try their 2 rounds in a row, and hope for overtime to stay alive in Masters 3.
This time it's the battle for mid. The last 2 rounds have been almost direct plays forward. The paranoia is going to force Toko back, and we can't really afford to make a play off of this. Now Ras is going to be sat at the back of site of B, so a push in that direction might leave a nasty surprise. And actually, Brave started to get a little bit aggressive. He's going to find that there's nobody pushing through the main avenue, and with this trip being broken, I think the A-site players might start to realize there's a likelihood that they're going in this direction.
They can't really afford to rotate just yet, though, because of the positions they were held in. The potential split in through middle, but that wall gives it away 100%. The problem is they're isolated on site. Izzy needs to go nuclear. Pora swinging around and catching a good angle. Izzy only good for the 1, and the res comes right back in. Acend looking to close this one out here and now, and they are getting all the kills. SuperMassive Blaze in the dumps. Brave and Turco need a 2 versus 5 to close this one out. They found the first and the second. Maybe we shouldn't count them out just yet. Brave walking forward, might catch the timing on Starzo here. No, he's taken down. And so Turco, the clutch player for SuperMassive Blaze, is the last alive, and he will fall.